Hi, okay, next I'm going to talk about the liberalism and neoliberalism. And liberal, it comes from the Latin word, which is defined as free. And liberalism is a political ideology and it emphasizes the freedom of individuals regarding many things. And such as religion, individuality, the politics, and neoliberalism. On the other hand, it mainly refers to economic freedom, and this concept came into being in the 20th century, and the main difference between the two is that liberalism is mainly a political theory, whereas neoliberalism is a economic concept. And as we see, liberalism can be identified as a political philosophy, and it emphasizes on the idea of being free and liberate. And this idea of being free could be applied to many concepts and situations, but liberalists focus more on democracy, the civil rights, property ownership, religion, and in general, it was during the period of Enlightenment that this philosophy of liberalism came into the field, and a philosopher called John Locke is said to have introduced the concept. And according to him, an individual has a birthright to freedom, to inherit property, to lead a free life, and thus, rights should not be violated depending on the individual's social connections. And liberalists rejects the absolute monarchy and the state religion and the immense power and the authority of kings. And instead of monarchy, liberalists promoted democracy, and liberalism gained much attention other than after the French Revolution, and Europe, South America, and North America established liberal governments, and in the 19th century, this concept also became a key component in expanding the welfare state of in Europe and North America. And today, it is a powerful, influencing political force throughout the world. Neoliberalism is an economic concept which promotes free trade and economy, and this concept came into being in the 20th century, and the main idea connected by this concept is that free economic policies should be given prominence and government spending should be reduced in order to increase the private sector intervention in the economy. And this was a massive change in the existing economic policies, and neoliberalism mainly focused on issues like privatization, cutting down the economic regulations, the free trade, and the private investment in the market was seen as one of the most influential forces by the neoliberalists, and they pointed out the importance of the private sector involvement in free economy. However, the implication of neoliberalism have been changed over the time. And first, this philosophy was developed in order to avoid the repeating economic failures. But in later periods, this concept was developed as a social market theory, and it supports the states as well. Uh, there are various differences between liberalism and neoliberalism ideology, and the liberalism it is a political philosophy, and neoliberalism is an economic philosophy. And the focus of liberalism is the individual freedom of thought, religion, life, property, ownership, and many others, while the neoliberalism it focuses more on the free trade and the privatization of people. And liberalism it came into the world during the time of the age of enlightenment, and neoliberalism on the other hand it came into being during the 20th century. And the current usage is that liberalism is popular even today in many nations, and the usage is declined, and the term is now rarely used. Those are the differences between the liberalism, and these policies became increasingly influential, as illustrated by the British Labour Party's official abandonment of its commitment to the common ownership of the means of production. In 1995, the policies of the Labour Party and the Democratic Party in the United States of America from the 1990s, and as national economies became more interdependent in the new era of economic globalization, the neoliberals they also promoted free trade policies and the free movement of international capital, and the clearest sign of the new importance of neoliberalism, however, was the emergence of libertarianism, and as a political force, as evidenced by the increasing prominence of the Libertarian Party in the United States, and by the creation of assorted think tanks in various countries which sought to promote the libertarian ideal of markets and sharply limited governments. And that is all today for liberalism and neoliberalism. Thank you.